I've been thinking about the purpose of life. I know, a huge topic. But I've been thinking about the purpose of life. Why am I here? Like, why are we here? And logically, I could only come up with one answer. The purpose of life, as far as I understand it, is to ease suffering for yourself and for those around you. And this is coming from a person who has lived a life of a lot of suffering, emotional, mental, and sometimes physical. Of course, you can also flip this and say the purpose of life is enjoyment. You can say the purpose of life is to make life as enjoyable for yourself and others as possible, or as pleasing for yourself and others. But that's like two sides of the same coin, in my opinion. Or not so much two sides of the same coin, but that's like a continuation of the same thought. Like, if you're down here in a lot of suffering and enjoyment of life is up here, that's a huge gap, and you can't go from here to there. It's impossible. No one can. So if your purpose is to ease your suffering from immense suffering, you're going towards less suffering, and from less suffering you're going towards relief of suffering, and from there you can attempt to go into like a neutral state, and then there's like contentment maybe, and after that you can reach enjoyment or joy of living. But if you're down here, you're never going to get up here. And this is something a lot of people don't understand if they've never been through trauma, if they've never been through where you don't want to be awake or alive. When you wake up in the morning, you just want to go back to sleep and not be here. And it's difficult to be here. And it doesn't matter what you've been through. If you're having a hard time being here, you're having a hard time being here, and you're down here. And like a lot of people are. And a lot of people are hiding it really well. But I would go as far as to say everybody will experience the lowest part of this. Everybody will. Maybe not right now. Maybe they're lucky enough that, they went through like a better childhood than we did, or like they're lucky enough to have led a more content life. But they'll go through suffering. Like, they'll lose somebody. They'll go through grief, lose something they love. They'll lose a job. They'll lose something that brings them down here. So I truly believe that the purpose of being a human being on this planet right now is, to the best of your abilities, to ease the suffering of yourself and those around you. And if that is the purpose, and if that is the direction, then you'll never get lost. Because it'll be clear in every moment what your direction should be. I believe, personally, physical pain is like the lowest of the low. Because maybe I have like a low pain tolerance, or maybe I've just been through intense amounts of physical pain. So like, if you're in intense physical pain, you can't think of anything except that pain. Like, you can't sleep, you can't breathe, it takes your breath away. So when it takes your breath away, like it's taking your life away, that's the only thing as survival. That's like base level survival instincts, right? So you're doing a great job being alive if that's the direction you're headed towards. So like, what do? You take a painkiller, you take 2 painkillers, or like, if it's not going away, you find a doctor who can find the root of the problem to help you ease your suffering. And like, that's the goal of your life. Very clear. That's the purpose of your life when you're in physical pain. I don't know why it gets so convoluted or confusing when it's not physical pain, when it's emotional pain, when it's mental pain, like when it's existential pain. That is still pain. That still takes your focus away from everything else and like puts you down here looking up. Like, every moment of your life you can focus on nothing but that suffering. And once you've reached relief, or like a neutral place, that is like such a huge accomplishment. And if you've been through what I'm talking about here, like if you've reached neutral and you're looking at the people around you thinking like, why can't I enjoy life? Why can't I like be happy like that person? That person hasn't gone through this. That person maybe started here and they just went there. They haven't been there. And once they get there, if something triggers them in their life to go down, they're going to be lost and they're not going to know what to do with themselves. So don't listen to advice from people who've never been where you've been. You can be from neutral to down here for many, many years. And like, that's okay. Like, if this has been your journey for your entire life, maybe, besides childhood, or maybe in childhood, like, that's okay. That's still a valid human life experience. And just like the fact that you're still alive, if that's been your experience, the fact that you're still alive means you are absolutely fulfilling your human life purpose. You are living your purpose to the fullest. Because most people that live there, they don't make it. So if you're making it, you're living your life purpose. This is the purpose of life, is to survive it. And it's a daily effort to survive it for some of us. And that's just the truth. So you can see, if this is the purpose of life, it looks different for everybody, right? But at least this gives you like an idea, a direction, a goal. And you can always check in with yourself and see where you're at on that spectrum, on that scale. And if you've already reached that level of neutrality, maybe now you're going towards unfamiliar territory. And this is how it was for me. When I reached like neutrality, anything above that was so unfamiliar that it almost scared me. Like, whenever I would go from the neutral to depressed to like in agony, whenever I would go from here to a little bit above neutral, or like a little bit towards content, I would be like freaking out inside, because now I have something to lose. Like, now I can go from here all the way back to here, and I don't want to lose like where I'm at. And like, this is life, you know. You're never gonna like stay in one state for the rest of your life. You are gonna go down. You're gonna go down. But like, if you've reached here, now you have access to go back up here. It's almost like a video game, you know, where you like go on to level after level, but like at each level it saves. So like, if you die at level 4 and you're like, you have access to level 4 now. You can always go back to level 4. You're not gonna start all the way from the beginning of the game. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it kind of works, I feel like. Because your brain now has a lot more tools than it used to help you. Okay, sorry about the outfit change. My microphone died, and I said a bunch of things that I have to repeat. And this is something that I have a lot of experience with, because I was depressed for very, very many years, and dealing with PTSD and what I believe to be complex PTSD, because I had all the symptoms. So for me, I know whenever I would go slightly above it, it was almost like a panic. It was almost like, oh my God, what do I do with myself now? Because now I actually have something to lose. Because before I didn't. Like, I was so familiar with this whole space that I didn't have anything to lose anyway. So I just, you know, go down here, go up here, whatever. Like, I'm still miserable. I still don't want to be alive. But like, at least I'm familiar with it. And those people who've never lived down here are so unuseful and make you feel so alone, because like, their advice doesn't apply to you because they've never known this, you know? They'll give you advice like, oh, think positive, or, you know, focus on things you enjoy. And you're like, what the fuck, bitch? I've never enjoyed anything in my life, or I don't remember ever enjoying anything. So like, I can't fucking enjoy things. How do you expect me to go there? And you can't. It's like too much of a jump. So I feel like that's where we need a little bit of help. Our brains need a little bit of help, if you relate to this. And for me, what has worked to go up here to enjoyment is mushrooms, magic mushrooms. And I'd say this tentatively because it may not work for everybody, especially if you have like schizophrenia in your family, or like psychotic ways of being. Like, you have to be a certain level of grounded to be able to benefit from mushrooms. You have to be able to like have a grip on what's real. But the mushrooms are the most helpful tool I've ever found to go from like this space to have access to enjoyment again. Because before mushrooms, I couldn't go there. I couldn't enjoy anything. I couldn't remember to enjoy. because I'd been in this space like so long that the only time I was enjoying anything was as a kid, as a child. And the memories of that fade so fast. You don't have access to that anymore. So when I started taking mushrooms, like at first, they were only bringing me from like down here to maybe above, slightly above neutral. Like that was what they were helping me bridge, that gap. And I was only taking them sparsely at a low dose. Not enough to go for a full trip, just enough to take the edge off. I view mushrooms like painkillers, like emotional painkillers. And you know, if you're in physical pain, the doctors always suggest like take the lowest dose possible to ease that pain. And I think it's the same applies for mushrooms. If you're in emotional pain or like you need access to enjoyment again in your life, take the lowest dose possible. That'll help you. And if you look at it with that perspective, I think it's going to be a lot safer for you to use them. Also, I know that there are a lot of different strains of magic mushrooms, and not everything, they have very varying effects. So if you try one and it's not helpful, try a different strain. It's almost like antidepressants. You know, they always give you like one, and then they're like, did it work? No? Okay, we'll put you on a different one. Because they all do different things. I tried a lot of antidepressants. They didn't help me at all. None of them. So I gave up on that a long time ago. But the mushrooms really did help me to, bridge that gap. And I noticed the effect is lasting. They have the ability to recreate neural pathways in your brain that maybe you've lost or forgotten throughout the years. Like they have the ability to alter your brain chemistry in a permanent way. And I know that sounds a bit scary, but I think there needs to be a lot more research on it, obviously. But there's already some research on it, and it's pointing to that direction, like that it has this power. So for people who have been through PTSD, complex PTSD, and deal with depression, long-term depression, I think that they have a huge medicinal purpose. If you're desperate, like if you're down here, like if you're suicidal, try them, please. Like don't give up, because literally the purpose, if you've made it, is just that you're surviving it, like you're fulfilling your purpose. Just being here is your purpose. And so when you've reached neutral, like, and you don't have access to enjoyment, that's where they really shine. They're amazing. And for me, when I was taking them, at first the effects would last like pretty short. I would notice, but like I would be happy, or like I would enjoy things for maybe a few days after I took them. I was like, wow, I've never had this before. So, but then I would go back down to my usual and like, it didn't work. But then I would take them again, and like it would last a little bit longer. And nowadays, like I can take them, and like it brings me up here. It brings me really high, and like the effects last like maybe up to 3 months. Maybe I don't even have to take them anymore. Like I don't know, but like I've taken them quite a while ago when I dipped back down again, and I was like, I need help. And it just reminds your brain. Like it reminds you how to enjoy life again. And the strain that helped me the most was the Golden Teacher. But there are other strains that have helped me. I just don't know the name. I kind of got them from a friend. But you can try and see what helps you. And just take as low a dose as possible until you feel that it's helping. And like nowadays, I can take it and just go so long, and I haven't enjoyed life this much. Like I haven't seen the color of life this much since I was a child. So it's really, really been helping me, and this is the only reason I'm mentioning it, because I'm absolutely against drugs. I don't think drugs are helpful. I don't perceive these as drugs. I think they're plant medicine, so it's a totally different category in my head, and they're not addictive in the slightest, because they have a very heavy body load, which is like the effect you feel on your body when you take them is quite peculiar. They're not toxic in any way, but they can be exhausting, so you don't want to overdo them. And that's why I don't believe in microdosing or like taking a little bit every day. I don't think you should be taking any drugs every day, even caffeine, because it's altering your body and and chemistry, and I don't think it's good for you. I think you need to be able to come back to reality and see what it's done for you, see what it's taught you. Like, just sit with it, you know. And this is the purpose of life. So this is a long term. This is long term. Like, this is your whole life. You got your whole life, so you don't have to rush it. You don't have to just like take it, binge on it, and then like mess up yourself. And you'll feel sick anyway. Like, you can't overdo it with these things. You'll feel so disgusted. You'll feel so nauseous, so disgusted. So like, you'll need to take a break. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a recreational thing. But yeah, that's a lot of you have been asking me about talking about my depression, because you've seen me to go from like literally here on my channel to like maybe a little bit above here. I still have my ups and downs. Everyone does. You always will. Like, this is human right there. And but like, yeah, this is what has helped me, and now I'm talking about it. I've been meaning to make this video for a while now. So yeah, that's what helped me. And I know I talk more about like the self, because in the beginning I said the purpose is to help yourself ease suffering and to ease suffering those around you. But like, if you don't help yourself first, you can't help anybody. You have to put your own oxygen mask first. So you have to help yourself first, and then there's a ripple effect. And like, this is the natural impulse of being human. I feel like once you go higher, you want to see others happy. Like, you want to help others. You want to spread love. You want to spread the joy or the relief. Like, that's our natural instinct. But if you're down here, you can't help anybody. You don't have the ability. You don't have the resources. You just need to take care of yourself. So like, that's why I think it's more about the self, and the rest is a ripple from you being authentically you. Like, there's automatically going to be an effect to those around you. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the purpose of life. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have anything to add? You can share your own experiences if you'd like. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.